गुरु गौरांग गिरिधारी शिष्य राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जाय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शुतर शत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शुतर शत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शुतर शत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शुतर शत शिशुमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शुतर शत शिशुमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु महाभागवत शिल गोईश्वरस बाबूजी महाराज की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु शिल सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु वैष्णव सार्वभौम शिल जगन्नाथ दास बाबूजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानु गौरिय गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदादि श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदाता गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। जय श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। जय श्री श्रीवास ठाकुर की जय। श्री मालिनी देवी की जय। जय श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। जय श्रीवास ठाकुरेर आविर्भाव तिथि की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Alright, let's do Mangala Charan. One second, just opening it up. Alright. अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। श्रीसिद्धान्तसरस्वतीतिविदितो गौडीयगुर्वन्वये भातो भानुरिव प्रभातगगने योगोरसङ्कीर्तनाय मायावारतिमिङ्गिलोदरकथान् उद्धृत्य जीवानिमान् कृष्णप्रेमसुधाब्दिगाहनसुखं प्रादात् प्रभुं तं भजे। वन्दे भक्तिविनोदं श्रीगौरशक्तिस्वरूपकं भक्तिशास्त्रज्ञसम्राजान् राधारससुधानिधिम्। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। पञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। And we'll recite the pranam mantra for Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura. Pranamami Śrīvāsam tam adyam panditam mudam Shri Gauranga Kripa Patram Kirtananandamanasam Śrīvāsa Panditam Nomi Gauranga Priya Parshadam Yasya Lavenapi Yasya Kripa Lavenapi Gaurange Jayate Rati Śrīvāsa Kirtanananda Bhakta Goshteka Vallabha Tvam Namami Mahayogin Bhakta Rupo Sinarada. Rajesh. Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshai Kshiptashtakama Madhe Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charana Ravindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams, dear devotees. Um, so today is the most auspicious appearance day of Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura, and today we will be reading from one of my favorite books to have on me, the book by Srila Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja, Sri Caitanya and his associates. It's an essential book to have so that we can properly celebrate all the appearance days and disappearance days of the many appearance days and disappearance days that come up in our Vaishnav calendar throughout the year of all the different associates of Mahaprabhu. So, yeah, if you would like to, I'm just mentioning before we start, if you would like to get this book, like immediately, you can get the Kindle version, which is available on Amazon, of course. If you type in Sri Chaitanya and his associates in Amazon, then it should come up, and it's a newly revised edition. So yeah, they went through and made sure that everything's accurate according to the original Bengali, and um, and it's not too much. It's pretty cheap actually. My copy is just up there. I don't want to get it right now, but in India also, it's a lot cheaper. I think I got mine for 600 rupees. And it's a big book. So, um, yeah, if you're in India, then yeah, you could also get it here. They reprinted it and they made it a lot more affordable because before it used to be way too expensive. So, all right, let's see who is here. Dandavat Pranams, Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Nitai Mukeshji, Chatamai Mataji, Ashray Tattva Prabhu, Sarveshwari Mataji, Rukmini Didi, Hari Mohini Mataji. And there are 7 people on YouTube and Facebook. If you write a comment, I'll see your name. I'm guessing Indira Mataji, Raseshwari Mataji, Rohini Nandan Prabhu, and other devotees are there. Um, all right, so we will begin. Oh, wait, one second. Oh, and Hare Krishna Nivedita baby. Hare Krishna. Oh, Mahibharat Prabhu. Dandavat Pranams Prabhu. Haribol. All right, so yeah, today we'll read this chapter by Srila Bhakti Vallabha Tirtha Goswami Maharaj from his book, and then afterwards we can sing the Śrīvāsa Ashtakam, and also maybe we can sing the song what is it? Sapta Dvipa Dipta Kori. All right. Let me just find it. This is the Kindle version right here. Shivas Pandit. Jai Srila Bhakti Vallabha Tirtha Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Okay, so Shivas Pandit. And most of the chapters in this book begins with a verse from Gaura Ganodeshtipika relating to that personality. So this is from Gaura Ganodeshtipika, verse 90. Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura Dhīman Yah Pura Narada Muni Parvatakya Muni Varo Ya Asin Narada Priya. Oops. Okay. Shri Rama Pandita Shriman Tatkanishta Sahodaram Nam Nambika Vraje Dhatri Stanya Dhatri Stita Pura Saiveyam Malini Namni Śrīvāsa Grihini Mata. Narad Muni in Krishna's Leela has become Shiva's Pandit in Gaur Leela. Narad Muni's friend Parvat Muni appeared as Shiva's Pandit's younger brother Sri Ram Pandit. Shiva's Pandit's wife Malini Devi is Ambika, Krishna's wet nurse in Vraj. The Panchatattva. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavatarang Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. So I pay obeisances to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, who has appeared in 5 aspects: as a devotee, as the expansion of a devotee, as the avatar of a devotee, as a pure devotee, and as the devotional energy. It's the 14th verse from the beginning of Sri Caitanya Charitamrita. So Srila Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī says, the supremely potent is revealed in 5 different manifestations according to his desire, to Mahaprabhu's desire, or Krishna's desire, to experience 5 different pastimes. Ontologically, there is no difference between them. They are one truth expressed according to 5 dispositions. Thus, Sri Gauranga, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Advaita Acharya, Sri Gadadhar Pandit, and Śrīvāsa Pandit, and the other devotees, they are ontologically non-different from one another. Nevertheless, that one truth is manifest as a devotee, Bhakta Rup, the expansion of a devotee, Bhakta Swarup, the avatar of a devotee, Bhakta Avatar, the energy of a devotee, Bhakta Shakti, and the pure devotee, Bhaktakya. So that one truth is manifest as in these different forms as Bhakta Rup, Bhakta Swarup, Bhakta Avatar, Bhakta Shakti, and just Bhakta, according to the desire to relish different tastes of divine relationship. Of these 5 truths, the Supreme Lord himself, the son of Nanda, takes on the devotional mood to become Bhakta Rup. His full expansion, his Swayam Prakash, Balaram, takes on the devotional mood and appears as Bhakta Swarup. Nityananda Prabhu, sorry. And then Mahavishnu takes on the devotional mood and appears as the Bhakta Avatar Advaita Acharya. These 3 are Vishnu Tattva. The devotional energy, Bhakta Shakti, and the pure devotee, Shuddha Bhakta, are classified as energies of Vishnu Tattva, which are considered non-different because of their dependent relationship. The principal devotional energies are Gadadhar Pandit, Sarup Damodar Goswami, and Ramananda Rai. The pure devotees include Śrīvāsa Pandit and others who are in the moods of friendship or servitude. Śrīvāsa Pandit is thus a member of the Panchatattva. Okay, so just to recap that, Bhakta Rup is Mahaprabhu, The Supreme Lord, he appears as Mahaprabhu, that's Bhaktarup. Then Bhakta Swarup is Nityananda Prabhu. Bhakta Avatar is Advaita Acharya. Bhakta Shakti, Gadadhar Pandit, and also Sarup Damodar Rai Ramananda, like that. And then just the Bhakta, Bhaktakya. He was known as a Bhakta. It is Srivas Pandit and all the other devotees of Mahaprabhu. All, yeah. All right. So the principal devotional, okay, wait, just for that. Srivas Pandit's origins. Srivas Pandit hailed from Silhet. He later came to live in Navadip, where he became instrumental in enhancing the Gauranga Lila. From the Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita, we learn that Srivas and his three brothers, Sri Ram Pandit, Sri Pati Pandit, and Sri Kanta, or Sri Nidhi Pandit, they were all participants in Mahaprabhu's Leela. Okay, I'm gonna test myself and we can test each other if you want. But we can memorize Srivas Pandit's three brothers' names. So Sri Ram Pandit, Sri Pati Pandit, and Sri Kanta, also known as Sri Nidhi Pandit. Sri Ram, Sri Pati, Sri Kanta. Maybe at the end of the reading we can see if we can we can test each other, see if we can remember that. Sri Ram, Sri Pati, Sri Kanta, or Sri Nidhi. Ram Pati Kanta. Ram Pati Kanta. Ram Pati Kanta. Okay. I'm gonna test. We'll test it out then. Shri Ram, Shri Pati, Shri Kanta. Okay. So Gaudiya Vaishnav Abhidhan cites Prem Vilas as saying that Srivas Pandit's father was a Vedic Brahmin of the name Sri Jaladhar Pandit. Srivas Pandit was the second of five sons. The eldest son, named Sri Nalin Pandit, had a daughter named Narayani Devi, mother of the author of the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vrindavan Das. Okay. How come it says that? Okay, so I guess Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita says that he has three brothers, but then there's a fifth brother. I guess these are this is just what I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like Sri Ram Pandit, Sri Pati Pandit, and Sri Kanta or Sri Nidhi are Shivas Pandit's younger brothers. And then he has an older brother whose name is Sri Nalin Pandit. Okay. And then his daughter is Narayani Devi, mother of the author of the Chaitanya Bhagavat Vrindavan Das. Narayani Devi's husband, Vaikunta Das Vipra, died while she was pregnant with Vrindavan Das. So she left her husband's house in Kumarhatta, um, Halisahar, and came to live with Srivas Pandit in Navadvip. Srivas Pandit and Nimai Pandit. During his student life, Nimai Pandit would engage Gadadhar, Mukunda, and other devotees in debate, first defeating all their arguments, and then showing how they could have been defeated. And then showing how they could have been defended. The devotees were astonished at his prowess, but they thought that his learning would bear fruit only if he became a devotee of Krishna. Nimai would pay obeisances to devotees such as Srivas whenever he saw them, and they in turn would bless him, saying, "May you have devotion to Krishna." One day, Srivas Pandit was out walking when he encountered Nimai on the street. He said, "People study in order to become devotees of Krishna. What is the use of all their studies if they do not become devotees? Don't waste your time, Nimai. Start worshipping Krishna as soon as possible." Mahaprabhu felt great joy upon hearing such words from the mouth of his own devotee, and he answered, You are a devotee. By your mercy, I will surely have devotion for Krishna someday." Even though they could not help but be attracted to Nimai, the devotees were unable to recognize him as their own worshipable Lord due to the influence of his Yogamaya Lila Shakti. This is a most astonishing and attractive pastime. Nimai becomes a devotee. When Mahaprabhu returned from Gaya, he began to display all the symptoms of one who is intoxicated with love of God. Shachimata became terrified, thinking that her son had gone mad. When Śrīvāsa Pandit came to see Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu said, everyone thinks I have gone crazy. What do you think has happened to me? Then Śrīvāsa Pandit laughed and answered, your madness is good madness. I want the same for myself. I see signs of ecstatic love for Krishna in your body. Lord Krishna is very merciful to you. A relieved Mahaprabhu embraced Śrīvāsa Pandit, and Mahaprabhu said, if you too had said that I was going mad, I would have drowned myself in the Ganga. So this is all from Caitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Kanda, chapter 2, verses 113 to 117. When Mahaprabhu instituted the loud chanting of the holy names in his own house and in that of Śrīvāsa Pandit, all the atheistic neighbors began to complain that they were losing sleep because of the noise. They looked for ways to counter the movement, and even started false rumors that the king would come soon to punish the devotees. The naive or innocent Śrīvāsa Pandit believed these stories and was filled with anxiety. He began to worship Nrsimhadev for protection. Understanding that Śrīvāsa Pandit was afraid, the Lord, who takes away the distress of his devotees, went to his house. He kicked open the door, and this is before anybody realized that Mahaprabhu was their worshipful Lord, their everything. They thought he was just this, naughty boy, and then this pundit, and now a devotee. But they had no idea that this is the first time that, and so then this Mahaprabhu, he kicked open the door and said, who are you worshiping? Who are you meditating on? Behold, he whom you are worshiping is standing before you. I will save the righteous and destroy the wicked. You should worry no longer. So saying, he sat down in the heroic posture, the Virasana, and revealed the divine form of Lord Nrsimha, holding the conch, discus, club, and lotus. When Śrīvāsa Pandit saw this extraordinary manifestation of the Lord, he was overcome with feelings of love and began to recite hymns of praise. Mahaprabhu was pleased with Śrīvāsa Pandit's recital and told him to call his wife and family members to see his divine form. He gave his prasad to Narayani Devi and showed his mercy to her by making her utter the holy name. Just as a devotee is dear to the Lord is also dear to his devotee. And when you go through and you read Caitanya Bhagavat slowly and thoroughly, and from the very beginning, especially with the commentaries of Śrīla Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, and then you finally get to this pastime, it is so dramatic. It's almost like yeah, you can really feel the shock of the devotees. Like, what? You all this time, like you are, and Mahaprabhu revealed himself in a different way to every single devotee, their worshipful Ishtadev, for the first time, and so that Nimai Pandit who's been with him for forever, engaging in so many different pastimes all along. You are like my worshipful Lord. And so yeah, it's so exciting. This is like the most exciting chapter in Chaitanya Bhagavat for me. And actually in that same chapter, I think it's Madhya Kanda chapter 9, my favorite, all-time favorite part of the entire Chaitanya Bhagavat actually is in that chapter, the part about Sridhar Pandit. I was just thinking this morning of writing. That might be the next Vine of Devotion post about that pastime. Anyhow, okay. So, Nityananda Prabhu's Vyas Puja. When Nityananda Prabhu came to Navadvip, Mahaprabhu knew that he was staying at Nandan Acharya's house. and so he went there in the company of the devotees. There they met for the first time. In order to reveal Nityananda Prabhu's glories to his associates, he had Śrīvāsa Pandit recite a verse from Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Barhapidam natavara karnayo karnikaram bhibhradvasa kanakakapisham vaijayanting chamalam randhran venor adharasudaya purayan gopavrindayar vrindaranyam swapadaramanam pravishar gita kirti. So this is in order to reveal Nityananda Prabhu's glories to his associates. Mahaprabhu had Śrīvāsa Pandit recite this verse, which means Krishna was dressed as a dancing performer, ornamented with a peacock feather on his topknot, karnikar flowers on his ears, wearing a yellow garment as brilliant as gold, and a Vaijayanti garland around his neck. He entered the forest of Vrindavan, the pleasure garden of his auspiciously marked feet, while filling the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips. The cowherd boys began to sing his glories. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 21, which is Venu Gita, right? Verse 5. As soon as Nityananda Prabhu heard the verse, he fainted, and the ecstatic symptoms appeared on his body. Vishwambar clasped Nityananda Prabhu to his bosom. I don't know how you say that word actually. A few days later, Mahaprabhu indicated that he wished Nityananda Prabhu to perform the Vyas Puja ceremony. So preparations were made for this ritual to be held at Śrīvāsa Pandit's house. On the eve of the ceremony, when the Adivas Kirtan was being sung, Mahaprabhu himself was possessed by the spirit of Baladev, thus revealing Nityananda Prabhu's identity with Balaram. Then Mahaprabhu called out Advaita Acharya's name. He said, Nara, Nara. And here it says one who makes something move. That's interesting. There's many explanations for this in Caitanya Bhagavat, I remember. But yeah. Nara, Nara. Revealing how Advaita Acharya had made him descend by his prayers. On the following day, Śrīvāsa Pandit took the role of the ceremonies Acharya. Was this, I have a bad memory, but was this the part when Mahaprabhu was possessed by the spirit of Baladev? And was it in this pastime, Mahaprabhu said, in the mood of Baladev, said, bring me wine! And then Nityananda Prabhu, because, Nityananda Prabhu, who could know better than Nityananda Prabhu what Mahaprabhu was experiencing then? It's like Mahaprabhu was experiencing Nityananda Prabhu's moods. And so then Nityananda Prabhu ran to the Ganga and brought Ganga water. If I remember, I might be getting it wrong. And then Mahaprabhu drank that Ganga water in this, please. I could be wrong though. I have to go back to Caitanya Bhagavad. If anybody remembers, you can mention. So on the following day, after the Adivas Kirtan and all that, Śrīvāsa Pandit took the role of the ceremonies Acharya. After completing the puja, he placed a flower garland in Nityananda Prabhu's hand and told him to offer it to Vyasadev while chanting the appropriate mantras. Nityananda Prabhu, however, put the garland around Mahaprabhu's neck. Mahaprabhu immediately gave Nityananda Prabhu a vision of a six-armed form, Sharbhuj Roop. At the end of the Vyas Puja, Mahaprabhu ordered the devotees to sing the holy names. Later, he asked Śrīvāsa Pandit for the prasad of Vyasadev, which he personally distributed to all the devotees, as well as to Śrīvāsa Pandit's servants. Everyone ate the offerings with great pleasure. When Mahaprabhu saw Śrīvāsa Pandit's devotion to Nityananda Prabhu, he blessed him, saying that there would never be any poverty in his house, and that even the dogs and cats in his house will have steady devotion to the Lord. Kirtan at Śrīvāsa Angan. I said Venugi, right? Rukmini Didi. I'm just making sure I said the right thing. Sometimes I'm a bit spaced out in the morning. Okay. Um, yeah, okay. So Kirtan at Śrīvāsa. When Mahaprabhu desired to begin his Sankirtan pastimes, he held them in the house of Srivas Pandit with only his intimate associates present. When the kirtan began on Akadashi, Mahaprabhu revealed many transformations of ecstatic love as soon as the chanting began. And in all the different Gaudiya mats and different temples around the world, devotees sing this song every Akadashi. Very long song, excerpts from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Right? Shri Hari Vasare Hari Kirtana Vidana Nrityaram Bila Prabhu Jagatera Prana Punyavanta Shiva Sayangane Shubharamba Uttilo Kirtana Dwani Gopala Govinda Vridanga Mandira Bhaja Shankakara Tala. Okay, so the scriptural injunction is that one should engage in Hari Kirtan Anakadashi, also known as Hari Vasar. Śrīla Saraswati Ṭhākura Prabhupada in his commentary, in that he says that Hari Vasar refers to Ekadashi. He says it also refers to Dwadashi. So Dwadashi is not just Ekadashi, but Dwadashi is also a very special day, bit less than Akadashi, but also very potent like Akadashi, but a bit less. And then there's also I think you mentioned Janmashtami, all the different appearance days of Bhagavan, and all these days of Hari. They're the residing places of Hari, right? I think that's it. Anyways, so that evening, Mahaprabhu, the life of the world, began to dance. This auspicious beginning of the Sankirtan movement took place in the pious Srivas Pandit's courtyard, where the sound of Krishna's names Gopala and Govinda rose to the sky. So this is Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Khanda 2, chapter 8, verse 138. Mahaprabhu ordered that the doors should remain closed, and the wicked and hard-hearted persons who were refused entry began to criticize Mahaprabhu and his devotees. Mahaprabhu's followers ignored their insults and continued to ecstatically sing the holy names. Just as the long night of the Ras Lila seemed to the gopis to last only a few moments, the nights of kirtan at Srivas Pandit's house seemed brief to Mahaprabhu and his followers. At the end of one such night, Mahaprabhu placed all the Shaligram Shilas on his lap and sat down on the altar, where he revealed his divine nature in a wonderful form and accepted all the food offerings given to him by his devotees. On another occasion, Mahaprabhu exhibited Mahaprakash Lila, the pastime of the great epiphany, right, the great manifestation, at Srivas Angan. This is recounted in chapter 9 of Chaitanya Bhagavat's Madhya Khanda. I thought this is this is when Mahaprabhu revealed himself for the first time, though, right? That's what I thought. I could be wrong, though. We could go back to check. But like the pastime that we just read about before, when Mahaprabhu gave his remnants to Narayani Devi and all that. So on that occasion, Mahaprabhu withdrew his devotional mood, stopped all his divine trances, and openly revealed his divinity, sitting on Vishnu's throne for 21 hours. At his signal, the devotees performed the Abhishek ceremony reserved for the King of Kings, according to the scriptural regulations. The devotees made their offerings of flowers and gifts, and Mahaprabhu stretched out his feet and accepted them without artifice. I forgot what artifice means. Artifice means clever or cunning devices or expedients, especially used as a trick to deceive others. So without artifice, it means not. Okay, without any kind of deception, like sincerely or something. I don't know. I'm sorry. My English vocabulary is a bit lacking sometimes. Okay, so he then gave all present a blessing, fulfilling their personal desires. In the course of this 21-hour Mahaprakash Lila, Mahaprabhu appeared in the forms of all the previous avatars. So I just want to check to make extra sure that this is the first time Mahaprabhu revealed himself as Bhagavan. That past time that we just read about when Mahaprabhu came running and kicked open the door of Śrīvāsa Pandit and said, I am Nrsingadev. You have no fear, that we just read about. Let's see. So let's see. Caitanya Bhagavat Madhya, chapter 9. Okay. So the Lord's 21-hour ecstasy. Huh. So actually, let me open this, make this bigger. Okay, so I was wrong. The Lord's manifestation at the house of Śrīvāsa is just the second chapter of Madhya Lila. Okay. Sorry, guys. So yeah, okay. Chapter 2 is of Madhya Lila. I'm sorry, Madhya Kanda is the Lord's manifestation at the house of Śrīvāsa and the Lord's inauguration of Sankirtan. Then the Lord manifests his Varaha form in the house of Murari and meets with Nityananda. Then revelation of Nityananda's glories, Lord Nityananda's Vyas Puja ceremony, and his darshan of the six arm of the Lord's Shadabhuj Rup. Then the Lord's meeting with Advaita Acharya. Then the meeting of Gadadhar and Pundarik Vidyanidhi. The manifestation of opulences. That's Nityananda and okay. And then comes chapter 9, the 21-hour ecstasy, or the Sat Prahariya Bhav, or Mahaprakash, Mahaprabhu. Okay. Got that. Got a little bit of clarity on that. Okay. So, um, so in the course of this 21-hour Mahaprakash Lila, Mahaprabhu appeared in the forms of all the previous avatars. One evening, Śrīvāsa's mother-in-law hid in a corner of the courtyard, from where she hoped to be able to see the Lord's Sankirtan pastimes. Being the indweller of all beings, the Lord was aware of her presence, and kept repeating to his companions that on that day he felt no joy in the singing of the holy name. This was very disquieting to the devotees, who, suspecting that some outsider might be hiding there, started to search through the house. When Śrīvāsa Pandit found his mother-in-law, he was mortified, and taking her by the hair, he led her out of the courtyard. Only those who have received the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have the right to witness his pastimes. On another occasion, a certain brahmachari who subsisted on milk alone asked Śrīvāsa Pandit for permission to see Mahaprabhu's kirtan. Śrīvāsa Pandit knew that he was sattvic in his habits. He was in the mode of goodness, and so he invited him in. Śrīvāsa Pandit had the brahmachari hide inside the house, but Mahaprabhu, the indweller of all beings, was well aware of what was taking place. He said, "I don't know what is wrong with the kirtan today. I'm feeling no pleasure in it. I think that there must be an outsider here somewhere." Śrīvāsa Pandit became afraid and said, "A brahmachari who takes only milk asked if he could watch you dance. He was so eager, and I knew him to be austere, so I let him in." Mahaprabhu became angry and answered, "One cannot have devotion to Krishna without surrendering to him, and certainly not by drinking a milk diet and engaging in other superficial austerities. Make him leave." The Brahmin fearfully left the house, but still asked if he could have a partial look at the Lord. The most merciful Lord called him to his side and placed his lotus feet on his head, telling him not to make a show of his austere practices out of pride. When Mahaprabhu put on a play about his Vrindavan pastimes at Chandrasekhar's house in Mayapur, Śrīvāsa Pandit played the part of Narad Muni himself. He played himself. Advaita Acharya took on the role of of the clown or vidushak, or I think also known as a jester, right? A jester. And Haridas Thakur played the police officer. Mahaprabhu himself first played Rukmini and then the Adya Shakti, while Nityananda Prabhu played the part of an old woman. The Lord again sat on the altar in the mood of the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, as the mother of the universe, and in a spirit of affection for his devotees, he fed them breast milk. Offenses to Śrīvāsa. Mahaprabhu's kirtans went on at Śrīvāsa Pandit's house with the doors locked every night for a full year. During this time, many non-devotee Brahmins tried to make fun of Mahaprabhu and his associates. Several of these non-devotees became envious because they were unable to see what was going on and insulted the devotees. One of them was a Bhattacharya Brahmin named Gopala Chapal, who decided to destroy Śrīvāsa Pandit's reputation by keeping a plate of offerings intended for Kaliya on his doorstep. These included liquor and meat, red hibiscus flowers, and red sandalwood. Liquor and meat, though, also. In the morning, when Śrīvāsa Pandit opened the door, he saw these items and started to laugh. He loudly proclaims, "Look, everyone, I am a Shakta. I have been worshipping the goddess all night long." His better behaved neighbors were pained to see what had taken place, and they removed the offending items and purified the doorstep with cow dung. As a result of this offense to Śrīvāsa Pandit, Gopal Chapal was afflicted with leprosy. One day, when Mahaprabhu came to the banks of the Ganga to bathe, Gopal Chapal approached him and prayed to be freed from his disease. Mahaprabhu angrily answered him, "O sinner, envious of the devotees, I will not save you. I will have you eaten by worms like this for 1,000,000 births. You made it seem as though Śrīvāsa Pandit had worshipped Kali, so you will dwell for 1,000,000 lifetimes in the hell known as Rodav." That's from Adi Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 17, verses 51 to 52. When Mahaprabhu had taken sannyas, he came once to Kulia, the site where offenses are forgiven. Kulia is a present-day town of Navadvip, also known as Koladvip. This time, when Gopal Chapal begged him to again be forgiven, Mahaprabhu was compassionate and told him to ask forgiveness of Śrīvāsa Pandit. One must ask forgiveness of the very devotee one has offended if one wishes to be freed from offense. When Śrīvāsa forgave Gopal Chapal, he was liberated from the effects of his offense. The unfortunate Devananda Pandit, though a great lecturer in the Srimad Bhagavatam, was devoid of devotion. Okay, so now this is another pastime. So when Śrīvāsa forgave Gopal Chapal, he was liberated from the effects. Next pastime. The unfortunate Devananda Pandit, though a great lecturer in the Srimad Bhagavatam, was devoid of devotion. One day, Śrīvāsa Pandit went to listen to him lecture, and, being a great devotee, was deeply affected by the Bhagavat's verses, and tears started to flow from his eyes in the midst of the assembly. Devananda Pandit's students, who were all Pashandis, they forcibly dragged Śrīvāsa Pandit outside for disturbing the audience. Even though he saw his students acting in this way, Devananda Pandit did nothing to stop them. Thus, he too became an offender to a Vaishnav. Mahaprabhu later roundly rebuked Devananda Pandit for his inaction on this occasion. Later on, Devananda Pandit had the good fortune, I think Mahaprabhu said that he hasn't even understood one word of Srimad Bhagavatam. So later on, Devananda Pandit had the good fortune to come into the association of Vakreshwar Pandit, who taught him Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's true identity. He thus became sorry for the offense he had committed and received Mahaprabhu's mercy. According to Gaur Ganodesh Dipika, Devananda is Nanda Maharaja's court pundit, Bhaguri Muni in Vrajalila. Oh, I didn't know that. He's Bhaguri Muni. Okay, so now the Qazi tries to break up the kirtan. In the mood of Amani Manada, that means Amani is one who does not ask for any respect for himself, but Manada, but who always offers respect to others. So in that mood, Mahaprabhu would embrace everyone, and with a great urge to beg them to chant the names of the Lord, and he would, with a great urge, Mahaprabhu would beg them to chant the names of the Lord. These followers would then engage in the loud chanting of the holy names in the accompaniment of mridanga and conch shells. Materialistic persons consider them to be nothing other than musicians and dancers who are worshipping Mahamaya in the wrong way, and they would insult them with various blasphemous statements. One day, the local magistrate, or Qazi, known as his full name is Sirajoddin Chand Qazi. Sirajoddin Chand Qazi. So that Chand Qazi was walking by and he saw the scene. Hearing the loud noise of the kirtan, he became irritated and angry. He went to Śrīvāsa Pandit's house and broke the mridanga and had some of the devotees beaten as a warning. He said, "If anyone does a Sankirtan again, he will be punished even more severely." This brought great satisfaction to all the non-devotees of the town, and they joyfully continued to mock the devotees. When Mahaprabhu received word of the incident, he became very angry. He ordered the devotees to take torches and musical instruments and to join him fearlessly for Sankirtan. He divided the devotees into several groups and then led the procession along the banks of the Ganga, himself dancing at its lead. Thousands of men, women, and children put aside their housework to join him and follow the Sankirtan procession. When the miscreants heard the sounds of the kirtan, their hearts began to tremble. Meanwhile, when Chand Qazi heard that thousands of Hindus were approaching his house, he ran inside to hide, trembling with fear. And in the Chaitanya Bhagavata, it is so this pastime is so much. Oh God, it's so intense and dramatic, and like everybody started like uprooting trees and kicking down. If I remember correctly, like they started breaking his house also, and like kicking down the door and breaking the windows and like just destroying everything. It was like a really full on, and but all the while they were chanting Harinam. They're going Haribol, Haribol, and then like breaking things. Yeah, that's what I remember at least. I want to reread Chaitanya Bhagavat. Okay, so upon his arrival, Mahaprabhu asked some respectable persons from the neighborhood to kindly inform the Qazi that he was there and that he meant him no harm. After all that. When the Qazi heard the polite way in which Mahaprabhu had addressed him, he was attracted and came outside. He addressed Mahaprabhu as nephew, since by village relationship, he was Nilambar Chakravarti's brother, which is Sachimata's father. So I guess Sachimata's father and the Chand Qazi, they were of the same village. Actually, Nilambar Chakravarti's house is not like I remember I haven't been there myself, but I remember after going to Samantadweep, which is where Chand Qazi's Samadhi is, um, that some devotees went to Nilambar Chakravarti's house. So it couldn't be way too far away. So yeah, they're in the same village. So after a few moments of cordial conversation, the Qazi recounted the following story. The Qazi said, "The night after I broke the mridanga, I had a dream in which I saw a most frightening figure, half man, half lion. He came and sat on my chest and threatened to rend it asunder in the way that I had broken the drum. When I saw how I, when he saw how afraid I was, he calmed me down and told me that he would forgive me if I promised never to interfere with kirtan again. Chandkazi then showed the scratch marks that had been imprinted on his chest by Nrsingadev's claws. He then promised that neither he nor anyone from his family would ever stop Sankirtan again. He also became Mahaprabhu's devotee. The tomb of Chandkazi is in Brahman Pushkarini, the present-day Brahman Pukur, by which stands a very old Goloka Champa tree. Both Hindus and Muslims offer their respects to the tomb of the Chandkazi. More kirtan pastimes at Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura. After a night of kirtan at Śrīvāsa Pandit's house, when Mahaprabhu returns to external awareness, he would go with all the devotees to bathe in the Ganga. Sometimes the devotees would ceremonially bathe the Lord at Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura. One of Śrīvāsa Pandit's servant girls, named Dukhi, she would watch, which means sad, right? Um, so, um, so her name was Dukhi. She would watch Mahaprabhu's ecstatic dancing with tears in her eyes. She also performed the service of filling jugs of water from the Ganga for Mahaprabhu's morning bath. When Mahaprabhu observed her devotion and was pleased, he changed her name from Dukhi, from unhappy, to Sukhi, happy. One day, next pastime. One day, Śrīvāsa Pandit's only son died as kirtan was being performed in his house. Śrīvāsa Pandit was afraid that the sounds of mourning from the women's quarters would disturb Mahaprabhu while he was engaged in singing the holy names. So he swiftly went inside the house and tried to quiet the women by explaining spiritual truths to them. When they still didn't stop their loud lamentations, Śrīvāsa Pandit threatens to throw himself into the river and drown if they did not stop making noise. This had the desired result. And we all know how Narad Rishi is famous for for getting people to give up their family and like that. Like there's nobody more renounced than Narad Rishi. So yeah, that's kind of very typical and common for Narad Rishi or Śrīvāsa Pandit to, yeah. So Mahaprabhu performed kirtan until late night, and later said, "Something doesn't seem right. Has some tragedy taken place in the Pandit's house?" Śrīvāsa Pandit answered, "How can anything be wrong when I have your smiling face in my home?" However, some of the other devotees said, "Prabhu, Śrīvāsa Pandit's only son died in the evening about an hour after sunset." Mahaprabhu asked, "Why did no one say anything before now?" The devotees answered, "Lord, Śrīvāsa Pandit told us not to, because he was afraid that it would interfere with your pleasure in kirtan." Then Mahaprabhu said, did Mahaprabhu say this out loud? For some reason, I thought he thought I thought he was just thinking this in his head, but he didn't express it because Mahaprabhu was starting to think about. I mean, this is just what I remember, but I could be wrong. But Mahaprabhu was starting to think about leaving home, and then Mahaprabhu thought, "How could I ever abandon devotees who love me to this extent?" And he started to shed tears. But maybe Mahaprabhu said it out loud. I'll have to check. After this, Mahaprabhu went inside and sat beside the child's dead body and brought him back to consciousness. He asked, "Child, why do you want to leave the house of such a devotee as Śrīvāsa?" The dead child answered, "The few days that I was to spend in Śrīvāsa Pandit's house are over. Now I am following your wish and going elsewhere. I am a living being without independence. I cannot go against your wishes. Please be merciful to me that I never forget your lotus feet wherever I go. When Shivas Pandit's family members heard the child speak such wisdom, they immediately forgot their distress and stopped mourning. Mahaprabhu said to Shivas Pandit, "From this day on, Nityananda Prabhu, from this day on, Nityananda Prabhu and I will be your sons. We will never leave you." Shivas Pandit's visits to Puri. We have 5 minutes left in the chapter. I know it's 1 minute till 8, so we're going to go a few minutes over time. Just letting you know. After Mahaprabhu had taken sannyas and was living in Puri, Shivas Pandit would come with the other devotees each year to stay with him for the 4 months of the rainy season. And now this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila chapter 9. Says Advaita, Nityananda Prabhu, Mukunda Datta, Shivas Pandit, Vidyanidhi, Vasudev Datta, Murari Gupta, and all of Mahaprabhu's other devoted servants met with him in Puri every year and stayed 4 months. Mahaprabhu engaged in various pastimes in their company. Shivas Pandit was a participant with Mahaprabhu in his pastimes of cleaning the Gundicha temple and Ratha Yatra. He was the principal singer in the second kirtan group or sampradaya, whose chief dancer was Nityananda Prabhu himself. Yeah, Nityananda Prabhu and Shivas Pandit have an especially close relationship. We're going to sing about that in the song afterwards. Sri Sarup Damodar was the lead singer, and Advaita Acharya was the dancer in the first kirtan group. In the third, Mukunda Datta was the principal singer, while Haridas Thakur danced. Govinda Ghosh, the lead singer in the fourth, with Vikeshwar Pandit dancing. The fifth sampradaya came from the village of Kulina, and Ramananda Rai and Satyaraj were its principal dancers. The sixth group, in which Achyutananda danced, the son of Advaita Acharya, was from Shantipur. The seventh group was composed of the residents of Sri Khanda, of whom Narahari and Raghunandan took the lead roles. When Mahaprabhu wished to dance, all the seven groups came together. On one such occasion, King Prataparudra was watching Mahaprabhu's energetic dancing while leaning on his servant Harichandan's shoulder. In the meantime, Shivas Pandit came and stood in front of Harichandan to watch Mahaprabhu dance. The king's servant kept pushing the deeply absorbed Shivas Pandit, telling him to move so that the king could see. Shivas Pandit became irritated at the repeated disturbance and finally turned around and slapped Harichandan. Harichandan became angry and was about to hit him back when the king stopped him, telling him how fortunate he was to have been touched by the hand of a devotee such as Shivas Pandit. I think a monkey just entered our place. I don't know, I just heard Subal. Okay. Um, one day, Shiv One day, Shivas Pandit and the other devotees led by Advaita Prabhu were joyfully glorifying Mahaprabhu's name, form, qualities, and activities in Puri. I love this pastime. Mahaprabhu became angry and left the scene, but later accepted defeat and acquiesced to their desire to glorify him. This was such a fun pastime. Anyways, it's getting late, so I won't. Because the part that I really loved about this pastime is that like they didn't really care about Mahaprabhu getting angry, and they just Advaita Acharya started glorifying him even more, and then Mahaprabhu just got frustrated and left. Anyways, well, man, I really want to read Chaitanya Bhagavata again. I like we read it once very thoroughly, but then because I don't have such a great memory, um, there are certain details and stuff that I think are right, but I could be wrong. But I think if we read through it again, then I would become really clear on everything, and I think I'd remember it all really nicely if we go over it again. So maybe sometime we can do Chaitanya Bhagavat reading, just reading the um the Bengali and translations and not the commentary, so that we could get through it quickly. And I don't know. Anyhow, let's continue. So only 2 minutes left in this chapter. Okay, so Śrīvāsa Pandit moves to Kumarhatta. Yeah. After Mahaprabhu took sannyas in Katwa, Śrīvāsa Pandit found it impossible to remain in Navadip, where everything was full of painful reminders of the Lord. He and his brothers moved to Kumarhatta, Halisahar, the birthplace of Ishwar Puri. Even so, Śrīvāsa Pandit and his brothers made annual trips from Kumarhatta to Nilachal to see Mahaprabhu and to Mayapur to visit Shachimata. Right? Like in Navadip Mahatma, Śrīvāsa Pandit was there with Nityananda Prabhu and Jiva Goswami. So on one occasion, Mahaprabhu came to his guru's birthplace and showed his respects by taking some dust and wrapping it in his cloth. After that, pilgrims went to that place and took the dust from there with great veneration. Consequently, a pool, a doba, was created, which is famous as Caitanya Doba. I've been to that place once. I think I went with Chaitanya Maharaj. Śrīvāsa Pandit's house is very close to Caitanya Doba. Oh, but I didn't remember going to Śrīvāsa Pandit's house. Interesting. Mahaprabhu visited the house of Śrīvāsa Pandit along with his associates on that occasion. All the members of the household joyfully received him and his companions and became absorbed in their service. Mahaprabhu noticed this and said to Śrīvāsa Pandit, "You are a householder with a large family. You have to earn money in order to maintain your family. Otherwise, how will you be able to do so?" Śrīvāsa Pandit first replied that he had no wish to make money, and then clapped his hands 3 times. Mahaprabhu asked him what he meant by clapping his hands, and Śrīvāsa Pandit answered, "I will fast for 1, 2, 3 days. Then, if I still don't get nothing to eat, I will tie a jug to my neck and jump in the Ganga." Mahaprabhu responded to Śrīvāsa Pandit's statement by giving a roar and repeated the blessing that he had given before in Navadip. "Even if the goddess of fortune has to go begging, you will never have any poverty in your home. Lord Krishna himself provides everything that his exclusive devotees need." Śrīvāsa Pandit's appearance day is the 8th day of the waning moon, Krishna Ashtami, in the month of Chaitra, and his disappearance day is celebrated on the 10th day of the waning moon of Krishna Dashami in Ashada. Ashad, which is that like a couple months away from now? I can't remember. Anyhow, so that is our reading for today. Yeah, so it's 8:07, so I guess I will do Jai Dwani, and then if anybody needs to go, they can go, and then we can sing. Anybody who wants to stay longer, we can sing kirtans. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. All right. So yeah, so I'll sing Mahamantra at the end, but I'll just for now because I want to be respectful of those who have to leave now. So Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Jai Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Srila Param Gurudev Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Swapar Shaji Gaur Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopigan Ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai, Jai Śrīvāsa Pandit Ki Jai, Jai Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura Todiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi Ki Jai, Jai Shri Malini Devi Ki Jai, Jai. Okay, let's try the test. What were Śrīvāsa Pandit's brothers' names? Oh God. Okay, so Shri Ram Pandit, Shri Pandit, and then Srinidhi was another name, but there was Srinidhi and Shrikanta. Pandit Ki Jai, and then the older brother was Nalin Pandit? She Nalin Pandit, I think. I can't remember. Jai, Śrīvāsa Pandit's brothers Ki Jai. Jai, Shri Narayani Devi Ki Jai, Śrīvāsa's niece. Jai, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Jai, Shri Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vindai Tulsidevai, Priyai Keshavashaja, Krishna Bhakti Padadevi, Satyavadai Namo Namaha, Vancha Kalpatarubhyashta, Kripa Sindhu Bhya Evacha, Patitanam Pavane Bhyo, Vaishnave Bhyo Namo Namaha. All right, so Dandavat Pranams, Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Nitai Mukeshji, Chatamai Mataji, Sarveshwari Mataji, and Ashray Tattva Prabhu, Rukmini Didi, Hari Mohini Didi, Hari Mohini Mataji, Mahi Bharat Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams Prabhu. Oh, my brother's there. Krishna Murari, Hari Bol Krishna Murari Prabhu. Um, and everybody else. See, there are 11 devotees on YouTube and Facebook. Any of you have to go, thank you so much for joining. I already mentioned Chatamai Mataji, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so if anybody needs to go, yeah, thank you so much for joining. And if anybody wants to stay longer, I'm going to do we'll sing a couple kirtans. We'll sing the Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura and Sapta Dvipa Dipta Kori. I sent this out on the Gaudiya Kirtan mailing list yesterday. I restarted it, by the way. I'm going to start sending out special songs on all the special titis throughout the year. If anybody wants to subscribe to that, if you haven't subscribed already, you can just go to gaudiyakirtan.com and enter your email there, and then you'll get the special songs for all the other festival days throughout the year. So GAUDIYAKIRTAN.com, gaudiyakirtan.com. Oh, and Haribo Manjari Didi. Haribo. All right, I'm going to turn on original sound for musicians. Get my mridanga. All right. Where is it? Here it is. So the Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura. And I don't know, it's not written who the author is, but this is the standard Ashtakam which you'll see in all the different songbooks. I got songbooks from all the different temples in Gaudiya Math, all the Bengali songbooks, and this is like the standard kirtan for Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura. It's also published in the Gaudiya Stotra Ratnamala, which is published under Śrīla Vāman Gosvāmī Maharaj. So I use that translation to make this translation. So with great delight. Actually, no, I think Śrīvāsa translated this. Okay, so I'll read the translation. How should we do it? Should we read the translation and then sing each verse? Yeah, let's do it like that. Then we know what we're singing. What melody should I sing it in? This is in Anushtubh meter, so it's same like Bhagavad Gita verses. Ashrayami Shri Śrīvāsa Tamadam Paṇḍitam Muda Shuklam Bharadharam Goram Gora Bhakti Pradayakam. Okay, I'm going to do it like that. With great delight, I take shelter of Sri Śrīvāsa, the foremost of pundits. He wears white garments and has a golden complexion. It is he who grants devotion to Shri Gaur. And I just want to double check. Okay. Ashrayami Shri Śrīvāsa Tamadam Paṇḍitam Muda Shuklam Bharadharam Goram Gora Bhakti Pradayakam. The kirtan Shri Gaur performed during his pastimes in Navadvip is Śrīvāsa's wealth, and he is prominently celebrated for this. He is my refuge. Shri Gaurasya Navadvipa Lila Kirtana Sampari Ya Pradhanataya Ya Pradhanataya Kyata Sa Śrīvāsa Mama. Śrīvāsa was so absorbed in the bliss of Shri Gaura's kirtan that even the death of his son could not affect him. Time and again, I propitiate that king of devotees. Shri Gaura Kirtananande Putra Shokopi Nasprishat Yang Śrīvāsam Bhaktarajam Tagnamami Puna Puna. At first he lived in Srihatta, and later he came to dwell in Kumarhatta on the banks of the Bhagirathi, and he took shelter of Shri Gaurasundar. That Shri Śrīvāsa is my goal and refuge. Yado vasastu Shri Hate Bhagiratasya tate Bhagiratyastate tata Kumara hate yasyasit Same Gaura gatir gati. I venerate the eminent and saintly Śrīvāsa, whose brothers Shri Ram, Shri Pati, and Shri Nidhi are exalted among saintly personalities. Shri Rama, Shri Patishchaiva, Shri Nidhishcheti Sattama, Śrīvāsa Pratarageya, Śrīvāsam Nomi Sarvaram. He who in previous ages was Narad, flooding the universe with the ambrosia of the holy names of Hari, is now, in the current times, Śrīvāsa. He is my refuge. Pura Narada Rupena Hari Nama Sudha Jharai Yo Jagat Plavayamasa Sa Śrīvāsa Dhunagati. I take refuge in Shri Śrīvāsa Prabhu, whose wife Malini Devi satisfies Shri Gauranga with the meals she prepares with her own hands. Yat Padni Malini Devi Shri Gauranga Mato Sayat Swahasta Bhagvar Anadyai Shri Śrīvāsa Gatir Mama. Just as Shri Gauranga is Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura's sole refuge, he is also the sole refuge of Malini, Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura's wife. This is well known throughout the land of Gauda. With utmost regard, I offer thousands of obeisances to their lotus feet, to the feet of Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura and his wife Malini Devi. Pativar Gauranga Gatir Malini Gaura Vishruta Tat Pada Parmasa Vide Pranatir Misahasrasha. He is exceptionally dear to Sri Caitanya. I venerate Śrīvāsa Pandit. A merciful glance from him awakens love and attachment for Shri Gauranga. Shri Caitanya Priyatamam Vande Śrīvāsa Paṇḍitam Yat Karunya Katakshena Shri Gaurange Ratir Bhavet. Ayashayami Shri Śrīvāsya Damadam Paṇḍita Muda Shuklam Bara Dharam Gauram Gaura Bhakti Pradayakam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura, Jai Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura, Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura, Jai Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura, Ṭhākura Śrīva. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. That's a little bit too high for me. So now we will sing Sapta Dvipa Dipta Kori. Illuminating the 7 islands of the world. This is written by Premdas. So illuminating the 7 islands of the world. Shri Navadip Puri shines due to the presence of that king among gods, Shri Vishvambar. There, in the midst of Shri Vishvambar's bhaktas, is the renowned Śrīvāsa Pandit, whose life's mission is Shri Krishna Kirtan. Shri Krishna Kirtan Jar Kaj. His only work, his only duty, his life's mission, everything is just Krishna Kirtan. That's his kaj. Sapta Dvipa Dipta Kori, Shobhe Navadvipa Puri, Jahe Vishvambara Deva Raja, Tahe Tar Bhakta Jata, Tahate Śrīvāsa Khyata, Shri Krishna Kirtana Jar Kaj. All glories to Paṇḍita Ṭhākura. By a speck of his mercy, one can become a recipient of Gaur Prem. All of his pastimes are matchless. Oh, Jaya Jaya Ṭhākura Paṇḍita, Jar Kripa Lesha Matra, Oya Gaura Prema Patra, Anupama Sakala Charita, Anupama Sakala Charita. Jaya Jaya Ṭhākura Paṇḍita. Exclusively fixed in the seva of Gauranga, he does not know any demigod or goddess. Along with his 4 brothers, servants, and maidservants, he always performs kirtan in various ways, day and night, with Gauranga and his devotees, intoxicated by prem. O Gauranger Seva Bine, Deva Devi Nahi Jane, Achari Bai, Dasi Dasa Dasi Loya Satata Kirtana Range, Gora Gora Bhakta Shange, Aharnishi Prema Mata Hoya. His wife, Shri Malini Devi, whom Mahaprabhu calls mother, is the crown jewel of all chaste women. Nityananda Prabhu resides in their house, and she loves him as her own son. When she sees Nityananda Prabhu, milk flows from her breasts and tears fall from her eyes. So flowing from her eyes, from her breasts and eyes simultaneously. Milk from her breasts and tears from her eyes, due to her motherly affection for Nityananda Prabhu. Ajar Bharja Shimalini Pativrata Shiromani Ajare Prabhu Koho Ye Janani Nityananda Rahe Ghare Putra Sama Sneha Kare Nityananda Rahe Ghare Putra Sama Sneha Kare Astana Jhare Netre Vahe Pani Stana Jhare Netre Vahe Pani. Sometimes, knowing Mahaprabhu to be the Supreme Lord, Śrīvāsa Pandit bows down at his lotus feet. But sometimes, he takes him on his lap to nourish him. In order to not interrupt the ecstatic dance of Mahaprabhu, he renounced any expression of sorrow at the death of his son. Hearing of this, the Lord wept. Akabo va Ishvara Gyane Nati Kore Shicharane Akabo Kole Koroye Lalana Prabhu Nritya Bhanga Lagi Vrita Putra Shoka Tyagi Shuni Prabhu Koroye Rodana Shuni Prabhu Koroye Rodana. Śrīvāsa Pandit's niece, Narayani, was the voice of the Vaishnava assembly. Her son, Sri Vrindavan Das, described Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu's Leelas, and thus he delivered the three worlds through the Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata. It is in him, Śrīvāsa Pandit, that Prem Das keeps his hopes and aspirations. Bhratri Sutta Narayani Vaishnava Mandale Dvani Jar Putra Vrindavana Dasa Vaniya Caitanya Lila Tribhuvana Udharila Vaniya Caitanya Lila Tribhuvana Udharila Prem Dasa Kore Jar Asha Prema Dasa Kore Jar Asha. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura, Jaya Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura, Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura, Jaya Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura, Jaya Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura, Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura, Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura, Jaya Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura, Jaya Gaura Śrīvāsa, Jaya Gaura Śrīvāsa, Gaura Śrīvāsa, Jaya Gaura Śrīvāsa, Jaya Gaura Śrīvāsa, Jaya Gaura Śrīvāsa, Gaura Śrīvāsa, Jaya Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Oh, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Shinitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jai Śrīvāsa Ṭhākura ki Jai. Tadiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi ki Jai. Jai Shinitai Gaur Premanande, Hari 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 Bol. So I already did Jai Dvani for the end, so we'll stop here. Thanks for sticking with me all the way to the end. I think it's been going for how long now? Almost an hour and a half. Wow. Okay. Is there anything anybody wants to mention before we stop our program for today? Before we end it? Yes, Sarveshwari Mataji.
In Vishuddha Caitanya, it is said that today is also appearance of Madan Mohan Seth, the grandfather of Sripad Bodhaya Maharaj. It's not in your calendar?
No, it isn't. But no, actually, what I do every year is I first put in all the dates from this calendar. This is our Sri Chaitanya Panjika from the Armat, and then afterwards I compare it with Gopinath Gaudiyamat's calendar. But I haven't gotten Gopinath Gaudiyamat's calendar yet, so I am going to do that eventually. But okay, wow, nice. And is he a disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada?
Yeah, yes, and it's yeah, and also it's grandfather of Sripad Bodhaya Maharaj.
Okay.
Yeah, grandfather. Yeah.
Can you say his name again? I don't remember. What is it? Madan Mohan Seth, was it?
Madan Mohan Seth is Srila Prabhupada Saraswati Prabhupada, and also grandfather of Srila Bodhaya Maharaj.
Okay, Jai. Madan Mohan Seth ki Jai.
Jai. Yeah.
All the
It's
associates
in the book that you read now, Śrīvāsa Pandit is also there.
Oh, really? It's in Sri Chaitanya and his associates.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah, the Lila. Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Cool. Jai.
Yeah, associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ballabha Tīrtha Maharaj, no? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's there.
Wow. Very nice. Well, I'm going to end it now because it's gotten very late, but I'm going to check it out right when I finish this. If anybody has this book, Sri Chaitanya and his associates, you can look up Madan Mohan Seth. Or Shet, I don't know how you say his name. And Vidyalala Sidiri, one second, let me just look at the comments. Okay, so Vidyalala Sidiri, what is she saying? She says, when it is said that we should eat only once on Dashami and Dwadashi, does it refer to grain prasad or even fruits or milk? Any restrictions on water intake? Yeah, I've actually never followed that myself. But I think, the day before Akadashi, ideally, if you want to follow very nicely, then I think it's referring to grains. Just take grains once a day. So, in the morning, or not grains, whatever. But like, so you could fast till noon on the day before Kadashi, then take some grains and like that, and then maybe at night if you're feeling hungry, then you can take some fruit or something like that. And then there isn't any grains in your stomach the day before Akadashi. That's sometimes it happens to me. Like if I eat a lot of grains late at night before Akadashi, then sometimes in the morning the next day, like I'll clear my throat and like there'll be like a little grain of rice or something in my mouth on Akadashi morning. That's happened to me a couple times. Um, yeah, but it's actually, I don't follow this, so I don't want to like say you should do this because I don't follow it myself and I don't want to be hypocritical. But really, ideally, you shouldn't eat grains the night before Ekadashi so that there's no like grains in your stomach and like that. But yeah, I don't follow that, and not many people in the mat really do follow that I know of. Yeah, and then the day after Ekadashi on Dwadashi, then yeah, it's good to just take a little grain. Like the ideal way, if you want to follow the highest standard, you just take a little grain to break your fast, and then continue fasting, and then just eat once a day like that again at noontime. Just take a little something, and then. But yeah. All right. Thank you everybody for. Oh yeah. Rukmini Didi is mentioning about Shri Malini Devi is Krishna's wet nurse. Amba, if she says, if I recall her name correctly. Yeah, Amba. Not Ambalika, yeah? Ambalika, Amba. Okay, Krishna's wet nurse. That's Shri Malini Devi. Jai. All right, Haribol. So tomorrow we will continue our reading of, what is it? Bhakti Tattva Vivek. I'll give a summary because a lot of the points in that first chapter were repeated over and over again. So I'm going to see if I can, without doing a whole big long reading through everything over again, I'm going to see if I can remember the key points and try to summarize that. And then we'll finish the first chapter of Bhakti Tattva Vivek. And yeah, that's our program for tomorrow. All right, and just one more time. Can anybody remember? You don't. You can just say it to yourselves if you want. Can anybody remember Śrīvāsa Pandit's 4 brothers' names? So he has an older brother, and then Śrīvāsa Pandit is the second oldest. Like he's number 2, and then his 3 younger brothers. Yeah, you can try saying it right now to yourself if you want. I didn't know before either. I'm testing myself as well. So, okay, you said it. Let's see if I can say it now. I think his older brother was Shri Nalin Pandit, if I remember correctly, and then Shri Ram Pandit, or is it Shri Pati next? I can't remember. His 3 younger brothers, I think it was Shri Pati, and then Shri Ram, and then Shri Kanta, and also he's known as Shri Nidhi. So the youngest brother has 2 names, Shri Kanta or Shri Nidhi. I think that's what it is. Anyhow, I'm gonna try doing that every time there's like an interesting like name or like details like that. We can try to memorize them, and then we can test them each other. It'll be our trivia thing. I remember Mahi Bharat Prabhu used to do these trivia things, like trivia games in Badger. Sometimes it would be like all the men against all the women, or anyways, we'd do these different things. We'd divide all the devotees into 2 groups, and then there'd be all these trivia questions. And yeah, it was so much fun. Like questions like that. Name Śrīvāsa Pandit's brothers' names and things like that. That was really cool. So I want to prepare. If I'm ever in one of those trivia things again, I want to be able to do a good job. All right. Dandavat pranams, everybody.